Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We've got some really interesting news to unpack today. So many people have been asking the same question. Where has Caitlin Clark been? Why hasn't Caitlin Clark spoken up? Why isn't she defending herself against Stephanie White, against an Indiana Fever front office that many believe is working against her, against the wave of ugly accusations, including the racism claims, while her fans get dragged across the media, even though she was the one who got hurt, not Alyssa Thomas? Everyone keeps asking why Caitlin Clark is staying quiet. Well, Christine Brennan just came out and explained exactly why Caitlin Clark has chosen to stay silent. We need to break this down. Let's dive right in. I'll admit, I'm one of those people who's been thinking, come on, Caitlin Clark, say something. What is going on here? At some point, you have to speak up and defend yourself against Stephanie White and everyone else piling on. You can't just stay silent forever. Now, Christine Brennan laid out her theory on why Caitlin Clark has held back until now. On top of that, the Indiana Fever appear to be shifting direction with where they're taking this team. Let's start by going through exactly what Christine Brennan had to say.
But that happened because of Caitlin Clark, and then the WNBA is completely and utterly unprepared for the moment.
Caitlin Clark never speaks on this. We're all talking about Caitlin Clark. Everybody's talking. You know her. You did a book on her. I think it's a great move. Does she not speak on it because she doesn't pay attention, or does she not speak on it because she's well versed in that, or is that just her personality to just keep it moving?
Dan, I asked her that a couple times when I first met her here in Washington in her rookie season, before there was even a thought of a book that I was doing in June of 2024. And I've asked her about it again when I was reporting the book and was in Indiana all the time and with the Fever wherever they were after the Olympics in 24. And, she said that she can't avoid it. Of course, she's got the TV on and then she'll see some conversation about it or what have you. But that she really wants to stick to what's important, and basketball and family and friends. She is remarkable. And I say this in the book, I'll say it again to you. The WNBA is so lucky to have her. It's just so lucky. Caitlin Clark could be bashing everyone. She could have the personality to just go out there and say what she thinks. With the millions and millions of people who follow her, that would be would create a very difficult situation for the WNBA. If whatever she thought, she did that. If what Alyssa Thomas is saying, I think there is confusion because Alyssa Thomas said in that press briefing availability she had yesterday, she said that she hadn't heard from Kathy Engelbert or hadn't talked to Kathy Engelbert. Well, then the league puts out all that they had text messages and they had been in touch. How lucky the WNBA is that the one who is doing all of this is Caitlin Clark. There are very few people, I think, in our world, whether they're sports fan or in any walk of life, who at that heated moment wouldn't have gone off. This shows how, and that's what's so wild sometimes about her behavior and how she can't control it, because she's so controlling with her brain in terms of the classy, dignified way she handles everything. Look at that moment. People can find it all over. You can watch those 2 minutes and see that and see what Caitlin Clark did to basically not throw Kennedy Carter under the bus, to not bring the wrath of hundreds of thousands from Twitter and all the other platforms against her, Kennedy Carter. And this, of course, is a black woman and a white woman. Again, so unfortunate that brings race into it. But of course, that's where we are. Caitlin Clark diffused the entire situation for an entire nation at that moment. How is that not a good thing? How are people out there who hate her because of whatever? I mean, root against her, right? You're a Golden State fan. Of course you want Golden State to win.
Yeah.
But when you look at the bigger picture at this moment in women's sports history, this inflection point, this watershed moment, the thing that so many of us who have a certain age, Dan, have been waiting to see happen. Wow. There she is.
What would happen if, in your mind, take off your fact finding, all right? This is just Christine Brennan, Dan Dockich having a chat. What do you think would happen if Caitlin Clark said, you know what, and her dad or mom said, you know what, we can start our own league or we can do whatever. If she left the WNBA, what do you think would happen?
We are chatting. We're not talking about what will happen, but what could happen. I think that's the key thing you're saying. She's certainly the one player who could do that. Paige Bueckers folks can't do that. And the Yukon people, I finally been saying this on book festivals and stuff, Dan. The Yukon people are beside them. I truly think they can't get over the fact that the one, the player, the biggest name in the history of the sport, is not a Yukon woman. So Caitlin Clark has the sponsors. She has the fan base to go and start a barnstorming league. Go around, like the Harlem Globetrotter. I'm not saying she's going to, folks. I want to keep saying that. I'm not saying that for all our friends out there. An awful announcing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, though, that there is one person who could do it. One person that, it's all kind of fun. One person who could do it is Caitlin Clark.
This September.
I think that's completely spot on, honestly. And it's sad because at the end of the day, all Caitlin Clark has ever wanted to do is play basketball. That's it. That's the whole story. She just wants to hoop. That's genuinely all this girl wants, to lace up, get on the court, and compete. But instead, she got dropped into a league that's tangled up in hidden agendas, politics, and all kinds of noise that has nothing to do with the actual game. And because of that, she doesn't even get to just focus on basketball, which is the one thing she signed up for in the first place. This league keeps pushing its own narratives instead of letting the game speak for itself. And you saw it firsthand when Stephanie White got up there and rattled off a whole list of talking points about the league. And not a single one of them was actually about basketball. Not one. It was about this group, this agenda, that agenda, stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with what happens between the lines on the court. So it's frustrating, right? Somebody who just wants to compete and play the sport she loves isn't even given the space to do that peacefully. And here's the thing. Caitlin Clark could go nuclear right now if she wanted to. She could call out literally everybody involved. She could go after the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert. She could go after her own head coach. She could expose what a lot of people believe is a sabotaging front office, Kelly Krauskopf, Amber Cox, and the rest of the Indiana Fever organization. She could even bring Lynn Dunn into it. She has the receipts, she has the platform, she has the fan base behind her ready to go to war on her behalf. But she hasn't done any of that, not once. And that says a lot about her character. Caitlin Clark has honestly been the one holding this league together through all of this chaos. Think about everything she's dealt with, and she still hasn't blasted a single person. She hasn't exposed anybody, even though she's had every single opportunity to do it if she really wanted to. All she had to do was say the word, and her fans would have ridden behind her instantly, no questions asked. Instead, what has she actually done? She's poured cold water on every hot situation that's come her way. She's tried to be the one calming things down instead of adding fuel to the fire. And it's honestly a shame that she's the one stuck dealing with all of this mess when all she wants to do is play ball. It really is unfortunate, and I've got to agree with Christine Brennan on this take. Caitlin Clark could start her own league tomorrow if she wanted to, and people would show up in droves. Anyway, that's my take. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe before you go.